Your Mosaic art kit includes the water lily base, the substrate, and all the mosaic pieces that you'll need. Nothing is sharp. These are little ceramic pieces. Can you see how pretty those are? In all the colors, the assorted greens, the assorted purples and whites. And of course, I love to throw these in. These are shiny gold stuff because I always need the shiny pieces in my mosaic. Love the bling. Then the background includes these little mosaic tiles. These are glass, but they're molded and there's nothing sharp. If you were to use mosaic nippers to cut these, remember if you do that, then you will have some sharp edges, so be careful. Water-based adhesive, perfect. I include with that Q-tips. You can never have enough of those to spread the glue around. Actually, toothpicks, kind of a pokey tool to move things around. Then for grouting, it includes your sanded grout, kind of a pretty ivory colored sanded grout. With vinyl gloves, a grout spreader, which is actually a pool noodle, perfect for spreading the grout. A sponge. Oh, and don't forget a stir stick for your grout. Everything you can need. Let me tell you about the mosaic base, the substrate you'll be creating your mosaic from. I designed this water lily. It's kind of an adaptation of my mosaic business logo. And it's created out of birch plywood, and this is furniture grade birch plywood, so it's nice and smooth to your touch. It's a beautiful material. And it includes these raised edges, which kind of outlines your mosaic design. So let's get started mosaicing. I'm going to start with the bottom part of the water lily where we're going to set the greens so it looks like the leaves. You could start wherever you'd like, but this is where I'm going to start. Everybody asks how much glue should I use, and my smart aleck answer is enough, but not too much. You don't want to use so much glue that it smushes up in between your mosaic pieces. I've included some Q-tips because this is a wonderful tool to sort of spread it around, and I would say this is about the right amount. I'm going to start with these gold ones because I love bling. You just got to have a little bit of bling in whatever you do. And then I poured out the greens, the assorted greens, in a little tub so I can see what I've got. And this glue is very forgiving. You can kind of smush it around and change it here and change it there. If you don't like where something is, you can move it around. You can pick it up and change it. Now tomorrow you can't because it will be set up and pretty solid. But so I'm just kind of seeing what fits where and what I'm going to put where. I'm kind of guessing on this, to tell you the truth. If I don't like where it is, I'll just pick it up and move it. It's no big deal. I'm starting off with these big pieces here, and let's see, yeah. Now I've got some of these that are little, and these little tiny ones are great for kind of filling in the spaces there. Here's another tiny one. I'll try to fit it in right there and smush it down. And I think I could. Can I fit a big one there? I can. I did it. That's how easy that is. I'm moving on now. Going to do the rest this side with the green. You know, I've kind of assorted the different shades of green, but this is your mosaic, so if you want to sort of choose the greens and set them in sort of a progression, or what would you call that, an ombre sort of thing, dark to light, you can do that as well. I do want to mention that if you were to get some of this white glue on top, don't freak out. It is not a big deal. It does happen. And when you grout, I will show you that that is not an issue, that it comes off pretty easily once we grout. So I'm going to kind of continue on with the green section here, and then we'll move on to the whites and the pinks, and kind of making this up as I go. Let's see, maybe I'll put a little a little one right there, and maybe a little one right there, and maybe a big one there, and maybe another big one there. Maybe I'll put a little one. I think we need a little one right there. So I'll keep working. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'll get back to you. I'm ready to move along to my water lily flowers, and here we go again with my gold bling. I just got to have little hits of bling everywhere, don't I? So here we go. Pretty simple stuff. Start with that, and it looks like maybe I'll put a little one that right there in the middle. And I think I'll mirror that. Do the same on each section here. And a little one. Little fiddly. Bingo, that was easy. Now ready to move on to the white, the little white petals. Once again, your goal when you set these is to get them situated as close as we can next to each other. But don't fret about all of that, because remember that I say grout is your friend, and we're going to grout this in a pretty almond color. And grout fills in a lot of inconsistencies. So, yeah, your goal is to get all the mosaic pieces as close as you can, but don't worry about it if you don't. I've set all of the greenery, the gold accent pieces, and the white, and now I'm ready to move on to the rest of the flowers. I wanted to show you these three colors of petals. I've got the real light pink, which we're going to start with, and then we're going to progress to the kind of light lilac, to the darker, what is that, darker purple, I can't talk. So I wanted you to see that I've kind of sketched out some lines here, because I want the progression to be kind of the moderately even on each petal. So next will come the light lilac, the light pink, the darker pink, and then the darker purple. So I've glued on my next color progression, the light pink, and I wanted to emphasize with you that you'll see that all of the petals are kind of going out like this. Nothing is going across. They're going fading or pointing up to the top. I did include for you a toothpick, which I find very helpful sometimes, but I just kind of want to do a little readjusting because I don't like the direction of that, and I want to kind of fool with that and fiddle with that. The toothpick makes it easier to deal with the little pieces. So next I'm going to move on to this pretty color, or this, the kind of the baby lilac, the light lilac, and once again I'll kind of roughly follow this pattern, and you see this isn't an exact line. Some of the pieces are going to fit in like this, so they'll fit together and it'll be a kind of a gentle progression. I'm going to finish up the water lily flowers with more bling. These are really pretty petals. They're purple, but they're iridized. I don't know if you can see that. So the light picks it, it changes. Kind of goes purple and kind of goes pink. It's very shiny. So I like these right on the top. I'm going to do some hits with those. You can see me doing. I'm going to do those first. Little one there. Little one there. Did I do this one? Oh, I forgot to do one. Perfect. And now I'm going to go move on to this darker purple color and fill in and finish my flowers. So I'm finished. Looking pretty great. Now I can be somewhat kind of fussy sometimes, and I'm not real happy with the way that looks. The glue is not set up, so I have this little screwdriver. I'm going to pop these off because I'm not happy with that, and I want to rework that section. You find you can do that if the glue has not set up yet, which, you know, takes several hours actually. You should be able to just kind of readjust and Let me rethink what I'm doing here because I was not happy with that. I know I need my little bling piece though, don't I? And that goes right there for sure. And yes, that fits in there nicely. I like that much, much better. That's not going to fit, so I am going to have to use a little one here, but I think I'll be happy. Yeah, I'm happier with the way that looks, and I'm going to switch that around a little bit. Yeah, that looks better than, yeah. Well, the water lily is looking pretty great, but let's finish it off with a beautiful kind of shiny background to kind of frame it off. I have these little pieces. This is glass. It's crystal glass. I love it because it's so shiny and it's so smooth. It's molded. There's no sharp edges, once again, to worry about. And take a look that there's a backing on it. When we glue, that backing always goes down and the shiny side goes up. So I have an idea for a background that I like, and I wanted to kind of create sort of a border and alternate the blue and the beige, the blue and the beige, all the way around the circle. So I'm going to start to do that, and it's pretty simple. Once again, just a bead of glue like this, and I'll go around and around and around. Well, I finished setting the little triangles around as a border, but I kind of ran into a problem. I don't know, can you see it? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. So we did every other, right? So doing every other, I have two that are matching here. So what do we do about that? Personally, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think visually your eye is going to pick up on that. But if it is, your glue is still wet. So undo your glue, undo that piece and move right along and move every little piece just a little bit and make a bigger gap in between each one and rework the whole circle. Personally, I would not do that. I don't mind the two together, but that's up to you, but that's how you would fix it. So you put a little bit more of a gap in between each one, and then it'll fit here on the side. Now it's time to fill in all the blank spaces. We're going to do something similar to this. Lots of different shapes, have some different size squares and some triangles, and we're just going to randomly fill in. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, remember that grout is your friend, so our goal is to fill in as much as close as we can, but gaps will fill in. Remember this toothpick I showed you? Lots of uses. Sometimes if your glue gets a little cantankerous, kind of clean it out with the toothpick. That should help. Yes, that's better. Now I can spread it around. And I want to show you that this is just kind of like working a puzzle, I think. Take your time with it. You can move things around however you feel like because the glue hasn't set up. Maybe I'll do a little one there, another little one there. Maybe another big one there. And now I'm using all of the beige ones, but if you wanted to, if you had some extra ones of these and you wanted to throw in some blue here and there for a little hit of another color, that works too. I don't like that. I'm going to move that like that. There. It's starting to make sense to me now. And that, still cantankerous, isn't it? There we go. Now, if you had wheeled nippers, you could probably do some cuts on these if you wanted to kind of refine and get a little closer fits. But I caution you, if you have wheeled nippers, if you cut these, then you will have some sharp edges. Keep that in mind. But this doesn't have to be perfect. A little here, a little there. I think you'll find it'll, I didn't like that there. Let's move it over here. And you get the gist. Well, I've finished setting all the background glass tiles. I really kind of enjoyed that time. It's sort of a chill out time for me, kind of meditative, I guess. But I wanted to show you before it's grouted that it's not perfect. I don't want you to stress out over this. It's not a stressful thing. Just kind of however I managed to put it together works for me. And you'll see once we grout that it will all come together. And perfection is not absolutely important. Okay, so let's mix the grout. I've sent you approximately about 6 ounces of grout. And the ratio of grout to water is 6 to 1. So I have 1 ounce, probably about 1.5 ounces of water here. And I want you to add the water very, very slowly, a little bit, maybe half of it at a time. You never want your grout to be too runny. I'm looking for a consistency of mashed potatoes, cookie dough, something like that. And it takes a lot of stirring for it to start to come together. It's not going to happen right away. It's starting to. Okay. Add a little bit more, a little at a time. Maybe we're starting to get there. Yeah. Be sure to stir from the bottom as well. And I had 1.5 ounces of water, and it seems to be about the right amount. Yeah, it's starting to come together. Here we go. That may have been a little shy. So, you know, one of the things I keep around is a spray bottle of water. This is an old Windex bottle, but it is just water. And I just give it a couple sprays there because I never want to add too much water because you can't take it out. There we go. Now we're talking. This is exactly what I'm looking for. See that? It's kind of cookie dough, mashed potatoes. Perfect. So I'm going to let this grout sit for a few minutes. That's called slaking. And then we'll come back and start grouting your beautiful water lily. So I've let this grout sit for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, and it started to stiffen up just a little bit. So I'm just going to give it just a little spritz of water and one more stir. Now we're ready to grout. This, by the way, this is my favorite thing to do. I love grouting. This is when you get to see your mosaic come to life. So this actually is a cut-up pool tool, but it's a great tool for spreading and smushing your grout. You don't need to be gentle. Go at it. You've used good glue. You've done a good job gluing everything down. So I want you to spread it in and spread it around. You'll see that this grout goes a long way when you start spreading it. You'll think, oh, I don't have enough, but you keep spreading it, you'll see that you do. I don't worry about the wood pieces there because actually the grout we're using is pretty much about the same color. So I'm going to continue smushing in into all those cracks and crevices and to be sure to get the sides as well. And I will get back to you. So, I had plenty of grout. I smushed it around and whatever. So I want you to take now just paper towels and kind of rub it off and be pretty aggressive with it too. And you'll see that we have got some area. I'm using my forefinger with a paper towel and kind of smushing out those areas where the dividers are of the petals. And smushing those out a little bit, pretty aggressively. I like that. See what I'm doing there? Now, this other bowl you had, I've just filled it with water, and here's your sponge. So I want this to be real damp, just not watery. So squeeze it out pretty well and kind of work on those dividing areas where they're a little bit lower than your ceramic petals. And kind of, there you go. Oops. Looking good. I will clean up the sides a little bit here so it's not quite so messy. Then I'm going to come back again with dry paper towels and just clean everything off as best I can. There we go. Looks great so far. So this is the time to sort of work with it. Let's see how pretty it's starting to look. This takes a little bit of effort, but you know, nothing good comes easy, right? You are making a work of art. It's not, one of the things I like about all of my kits actually is they're not crafty looking. They are what I really call a mosaic art kit. And looking really good. I have here an old t-shirt, or you get old terry cloth towel, anything like that. And I'm going to rub it, clean it off, be pretty aggressive once again. If one of your pieces were to fall off, don't freak out. Just put it aside, and then when you're all finished with the grouting, the cleaning process of the grouting, you can glue it back on. And I have some extra grout, and just sort of tap in a little grout around it. Pretty easy to do. Now at this point, you might see some glue. I have there we go, an old screwdriver that I'm going to clean out some of the areas a little bit more with. Create that definition. And keep cleaning and buffing. Ta-da! Yes, I've cleaned it off. I continue kind of buffing with my terry cloth. Well, this is an old t-shirt. This is the time where you may see some glue that happened to stick on one of your pieces. At this point, it's real easy to get off. You could probably just use your fingernail, or I have this old screwdriver will kind of get off any of the glue. I wanted to show you this background here. Remember how we set it, and it was real random, a little of this, a little of that, and we had some big spaces, and we had no particular plan. Since the grout is the similar color, turned out great. It's not an issue at all that it wasn't perfectly done. This is gorgeous. You might decide later after your grout dries, which will take for it to totally be dry a couple of days, to get some craft paints and paint these little delineated edges. I think it's perfect the way it is. I have done a few where I used gold paint, kind of picked out this gold, and it turned out well. Or maybe you could use purple, or just leave it as it is. I think it's just very subtle this way. I like it very much. Congratulations. I'm sure you did a great job. Now, I wanted to tell you that in a couple of days, you might see some haze. It's not real shiny. Take some just plain water, like a cup of water with maybe a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons of white vinegar, and wipe it down with that. And that will take off any of the haze, the grout haze, if it's remaining on there. So, great job. It's a beautiful work of art.